Chosen one, stop, breathe. Did you feel that shift? That moment when everything went silent and heaven leaned in? I saw it. When you thought no one noticed, when you cried in the dark, when you almost gave up, I was watching. You felt attacked, misunderstood, targeted, like all of hell had your address. But what you didn't know, heaven was holding its breath, not because you were failing, but because you were about to do something that would echo through eternity. Yes, I raised my voice, not in anger, but in astonishment, because when the pressure crushed you, you chose obedience. When betrayal broke you, you chose purity. When they expected revenge, you chose mercy. And even the angels, who have seen galaxies born, did not expect that kind of strength from a wounded heart. You feel small, but you shook the unseen realm. Your rejection was not abandonment. It was my redirection. You felt the door close. You heard the silence after the no. You watched people walk away without explanation. And in that moment you whispered, "God, why?" You thought I had left you standing alone in the hallway of disappointment. You thought I allowed them to choose someone else because you weren't enough. You thought the opportunity slipping through your fingers meant you had missed your destiny. But listen to me now. I did not remove them to punish you. I removed them to protect you. You were asking me to bless something that would have slowly broken you. You were praying for access to rooms that would have shrunk your calling. You were begging to stay connected to people who could only handle a smaller version of you. So I stepped in, and what felt like rejection was me rewriting your future. You see abandonment as absence, but redirection is protection. If I had allowed you to stay, you would have settled. If I had let them accept you, you would have adjusted your light to fit their comfort. If that door had opened, you would have walked into limitation disguised as opportunity. And you are not called to live limited. You are chosen. When they ignored you, I was separating you. When they overlooked you, I was preserving you. When they replaced you, I was repositioning you. You cried because you felt unwanted. Heaven was silent because it was rearranging pieces you couldn't see. I watched you question your worth. I saw you compare yourself. I heard the lie whisper. If you were truly chosen, they wouldn't have left. But understand this. They left because they were not assigned to your next level. Your destiny requires space. Your calling demands clarity. Your future cannot be built with people who are comfortable with your past. Rejection is painful because it attacks your identity. But I allowed it to refine your identity. I needed you to know that your value is not determined by acceptance. Your worth is not voted on by people. Your calling does not require applause. You were never abandoned. I was simply clearing the stage. What you saw as loss was preparation. What you felt as humiliation was insulation. What seemed like isolation was sacred construction. You thought you were falling behind, but I was pulling you out of a timeline too small for you. And one day, sooner than you think, you will stand in a place you never imagined, and you will realize it. If they had accepted you, if that opportunity had worked, if that relationship had stayed, you would have missed this. So dry your tears, chosen one. The rejection did not disqualify you. It confirmed you were meant for something greater. I did not abandon you. I redirected you toward destiny. The warfare around you was never random. It was revelation. You thought you were under attack because you were weak. You thought the pressure meant you were failing. You wondered why your life felt like a battlefield when others seemed to walk through ease. But listen carefully, chosen one. Storms do not gather around emptiness. Battles are not assigned to the irrelevant. The resistance you felt was recognition. Hell does not fight what carries no threat. Darkness does not mobilize against what has no light. The warfare around you revealed the anointing within you. Before you even understood your calling, the spiritual realm detected it. Before you discovered your strength, the enemy sensed it. Before you embraced your authority, opposition tried to intimidate you out of it. You called it bad luck. You called it misfortune. You called it being targeted. But I call it confirmation. Think about it. Why did the betrayal cut so deep? Why did the attacks feel so coordinated? Why did doors close all at once? Why did misunderstandings multiply when you tried to rise? Because you were stepping into alignment. And alignment makes noise in the unseen realm. You felt surrounded. You felt misunderstood. You felt like every step forward triggered 3 steps of resistance. But what you didn't see was this. Every blow you survived strengthened your spiritual muscle. Every lie spoken about you refined your character. Every lonely night built endurance in you that comfort never could. The warfare did not create your strength. It exposed it. There is oil on your life. There is authority in your voice. There is weight in your presence. And oil attracts friction before it attracts favor. You asked me to use you. You asked me to elevate you. You asked me to trust you with greater impact. But greater impact requires greater resilience. So I allowed the battle, not to destroy you, but to develop you. You thought you were barely surviving, but you were learning how to stand. You thought you were breaking, but you were being built. Every time you chose integrity instead of revenge, your anointing deepened. Every time you stayed silent instead of defending yourself, your authority matured. Every time you forgave when it hurt, your spirit expanded. The warfare revealed what comfort never could. It showed you that you carry something powerful. It proved that you are not ordinary. It exposed that you are marked for impact. And now you're not the same person who entered the battle. You walk differently. You pray differently. You discern differently. Because pressure activated what was hidden inside you. So stop asking why it was so hard. It was hard because you are called. The warfare was loud because your destiny is loud. And now that you've survived it, you no longer fear the battle. You understand it revealed who you truly are. Your isolation was not punishment. It was preparation. You thought I had forgotten you when the crowd disappeared. You felt the emptiness when messages stopped coming. You noticed how the laughter around you faded, how invitations slowed, how conversations grew distant. And you wondered, God, why am I so alone? But I was closer to you in that silence than I have ever been in the noise of your past. Your isolation was heaven's strategy for consecration. You were not being rejected by people. You were being separated for purpose. You were not being pushed away. You were being pulled closer to destiny. Because I needed your attention. The world was talking too loudly. Opinions were shaping your identity. People were defining your value based on usefulness, performance. and visibility. So I turned down the volume of everything around you. I allowed friendships to fade that could not handle your calling. I allowed familiar voices to go quiet so you could hear my voice clearly. I allowed you to sit in rooms of silence so I could build something eternal inside your spirit. You felt forgotten. But I was guarding your anointing from contamination. There are levels of destiny that cannot be built in crowded spaces. There are revelations that only arrive in solitude. There are versions of you that could only be formed when no one was watching. You cried in rooms where nobody knew your tears existed. You prayed prayers too deep for words. You carried battles inside your chest that you never spoke about. And I saw every moment. I was there when you checked your phone, hoping someone would remember you. I was there when you scrolled through memories, wishing things were different. I was there when loneliness felt heavier than any physical pain you had ever experienced. But listen closely, chosen one. Loneliness was not meant to break you. It was meant to break your dependence on approval. I needed you strong enough to walk into your destiny without needing applause to keep going. I needed you anchored in purpose, not popularity. I needed you rooted in calling, not comfort. Isolation was where I refined your character, where I strengthened your identity, where I taught your spirit how to stand when nobody was standing with you. You are being prepared for rooms where not everyone will understand your assignment. Rooms where your presence will shift atmospheres. Rooms where your words will carry weight because you learned truth in silence. You are no longer shaped by crowds. You are shaped by calling. And yes, I know it hurt. I know nights felt endless. I know you wondered if something was wrong with you. But nothing was wrong with you. Everything was being arranged for you. Your isolation was not the absence of destiny. It was the construction of it. And soon, when you step into what I have prepared, you will realize the loneliness was never meant to last forever. It was only meant to make you powerful enough to carry what is coming next. The betrayal you survived was not the end of your story. It was the beginning of your authority. I know how deep it cut. I saw the moment trust broke inside your heart. I heard the silence after the truth you believed turned into lies told behind your back. You kept asking yourself, why did they do this to me? Was I not loyal enough? Was I not good enough to keep? But listen to me, chosen one. Their betrayal did not define you. It refined you. There are levels of authority I cannot entrust to someone who has never felt the weight of human disloyalty. Because authority in my kingdom is not just power, it is wisdom shaped through suffering. You learned what words cannot teach. You learned how people smile while hiding intentions. You learned how promises can sound sacred, but still collapse under pressure. You learned how quickly loyalty can be tested when opportunity appears. And it hurt because you gave your heart fully. You believed deeply. You loved honestly. That was never your weakness. That was your greatness. You carried purity in a world that often rewards self-interest. You showed kindness when it was easier to be cold. You stayed faithful when walking away would have been easier. But betrayal is spiritual weight training for the soul. You thought you were being crushed, but I was increasing your capacity to carry responsibility. Because people who have never been betrayed often trust blindly. But I am raising you to lead with discernment, to see what others cannot see, to feel what others cannot sense. The pain you felt taught you how to guard hearts without becoming hard, how to lead without becoming manipulative, how to carry influence without losing compassion. You are not being prepared to survive power. You are being prepared to carry it responsibly. When they betrayed you, I was watching how you would respond. Would you become bitter, or would you become stronger? And I saw you fight the temptation to harden your heart. I saw you choose healing instead of revenge. I saw you cry, but still keep moving forward. That is what qualifies you for authority. Because real authority is not given to those who have never been wounded. It is given to those who can stand after being wounded and still lead with integrity. You survived conversations where your name was used as a story instead of a person. You survived friendships that turned into competition. You survived relationships that taught you more about human nature than you ever wanted to learn. And I am telling you now, I did not waste your pain. The betrayal became your training ground. It sharpened your spiritual instincts. It made your spirit sensitive to truth and deception. It made you stronger in ways people cannot see, but can feel when they are near you. You are no longer who you were before the betrayal. You carry authority now. Quiet authority, spiritual authority. Authority that does not need to be loud to be powerful. And one day, you will stand in places where the same people who betrayed you will watch what I have built in you. Not for revenge, but for destiny fulfillment, because I did not allow betrayal to destroy you. I allowed it to crown you with wisdom, strength, and authority you could never have gained any other way. What tried to break you did not succeed, because you were never meant to be fragile. I saw every moment when pressure felt heavier than your strength. I watched the nights when you wondered how much longer you could keep standing. I heard the quiet prayers you didn't even have words for. Just tears, just breathing, just hope clinging to your chest like a last lifeline. You thought the pain was too much. You thought you were reaching your limit. You thought something inside you was slowly shattering beyond repair. But listen to me, chosen one. What tried to break you actually built spiritual endurance inside you. You were not being attacked randomly. You were being trained intentionally. Endurance is not built in comfort. It is built in resistance. It is built when you keep believing even when circumstances keep contradicting your faith. It is built when you keep moving forward, even when your heart feels tired of fighting. I watched how you kept going when giving up would have felt easier. I watched how you kept loving when love kept hurting you. I watched how you kept showing up in life, even when life kept disappointing you. That is spiritual endurance. You are stronger in your spirit now than you were before the storms came. Not louder, not more aggressive, but stronger in ways that matter in destiny moments. There is a strength that comes from surviving things you never thought you could survive. There is a power that grows quietly in hearts that refuse to surrender to despair. You thought you were breaking, but I was expanding your capacity to carry purpose. Because the destiny I placed inside you is heavier than your past. It requires emotional resilience. It requires spiritual stability. It requires a heart that can remain pure, even when surrounded by chaos. You have learned how to stand when you felt like falling. You have learned how to believe when everything around you looked hopeless. You have learned how to hope when hope felt like a distant memory. And that is not weakness. That is supernatural endurance being formed inside your soul. You are not the same person who first encountered your struggles. Your spirit has muscles now, invisible muscles, faith muscles, perseverance muscles. You can carry more now without collapsing. You can withstand more pressure without losing your identity. You can walk through harder seasons without losing your purpose. The things that once overwhelmed you will no longer have the same power over you. Because endurance changes how you experience warfare. Endurance changes how you respond to disappointment. Endurance changes how you survive spiritual and emotional storms. You are being prepared for long journeys of destiny, not short victories. You are being trained to last, not just to succeed once. And I know you sometimes feel tired. I know there are moments when your soul longs for peace. I know there are days when you wish life had been easier for you. But I need you to understand something sacred. You were not raised to collapse under pressure. You were raised to outlast it. What tried to break you did not succeed. It only made you spiritually stronger, spiritually wiser, and spiritually prepared for what I am about to do next in your life. Unseen protection was surrounding you, even when you felt completely alone. You thought you were abandoned. You thought everyone who once stood beside you had left at the worst possible moment. You counted the people who walked away. You replayed the moments when help should have come, but didn't. And in those quiet, painful moments, you asked me, "Where were you, God?" But I was there. I was standing between you and dangers you never even knew existed. I was blocking attacks you could not see. I was closing doors that looked like opportunities, but carried hidden destruction inside them. When visible support disappeared, my invisible protection became stronger around your life. You felt like you were falling through life without anyone catching you. But you did not realize how many times I slowed your fall, how many times I redirected your path, how many times I turned disasters into delays so you would not walk into harm disguised as destiny. You cried over lost relationships, but I was saving your heart from wounds that would have been permanent. You worried about lost opportunities, but I was saving your future from environments that would have suffocated your calling. You felt exposed, but you were actually surrounded by divine protection you could not see with physical eyes. There were moments when you were driving home late at night, not knowing that unseen protection was guiding your steps. There were moments when you made decisions that could have destroyed you, but something inside you said, "Stop," at the exact right time. That was not coincidence. That was me. You thought you were surviving life on your own strength, but I was shielding you from spiritual and physical dangers you never knew were coming toward you. There were conversations you almost entered, people you almost trusted, places you almost went, choices you almost made, and I intervened quietly. Not with thunder, not with loud signs, but with gentle redirections, with uneasy feelings that you could not explain, with sudden delays that frustrated you at the time, but saved you from destruction. You are alive today because protection was assigned to your life. You were never meant to be destroyed by what tried to approach you. You were marked for preservation. Even when you felt vulnerable, you were never defenseless. Even when you felt exposed, you were never unguarded. Even when you felt forgotten, you were never unattended. There were battles you never had to fight because I fought them before you even knew they existed. There were dangers that turned away when they reached your life's boundary. You will not always know how many times I protected you. You may never see all the moments when disaster was avoided. But one day, you will understand how carefully I watched over your destiny. Because you are not just surviving life, you are being preserved for something greater. And I am still protecting you, even now, even when you cannot feel it, even when you cannot see it. You are surrounded by unseen protection because your destiny is too important to be left unguarded. The delay was never denial. It was development. I know how many times you looked at your life and felt like time was moving faster for everyone else. You watched others step into opportunities while you were still waiting. You watched people younger than you rise, succeed, move forward, and you wondered, God, did I miss my moment? But listen to me, chosen one. You did not miss your moment. You were being prepared for a destiny too heavy for your old self to carry. Because what I have prepared for you is not small. It is not temporary. It is not something that can be carried by a version of you that was still learning, still healing, still becoming. The delay was not punishment. It was spiritual strengthening. There were parts of you that were still fragile, not weak, just unfinished. There were emotional wounds I needed to heal before I increased your influence. There were lessons I needed to teach your spirit before I increased your responsibility. You thought you were ready, but I knew what was coming. Because destiny is heavy, not heavy like a burden, heavy like glory that requires maturity to carry, heavy like authority that requires wisdom to wield, heavy like purpose that affects generations, not just moments. If I had given you what you were praying for earlier, it would have crushed the version of you that existed in that season. You were still learning how to handle pressure. You were still learning how to handle disappointment without losing faith. You were still learning how to handle success without losing humility. So I slowed time around your life, not to stop you, but to build you. You cried during the delay. You questioned your path during the waiting. You compared your progress to others. You felt like life was passing you by. But I was expanding your spiritual foundation, because what is coming toward your life requires stability, requires endurance, requires emotional strength, requires spiritual maturity that can survive both storms and success. You are not being prepared for ordinary impact. You are being prepared for destiny impact. There will be moments in your future where you will look back and understand why I made you wait. You will see how certain experiences shaped your character. You will see how certain disappointments built wisdom inside your spirit. You will see how certain lonely seasons made you strong enough to carry influence without losing yourself. The delay was not rejection from destiny. It was destiny protecting itself inside you until you were ready. You are not behind in life. You are being timed by eternity, not by human standards. And when your moment finally arrives, and it will arrive, You will move with confidence you never had before. You will speak with authority formed in silence. You will carry power that was forged in waiting. Because the delay was never about stopping you. It was about making sure you would not break under the weight of what I am about to entrust to you next. Your breakthrough is coming. And when it comes, it will speak louder than every voice that ever tried to destroy you. I know what you endured. I saw the whispers behind your name. I heard the plans people formed against your peace. I watched the spiritual pressure that tried to convince you that you would never rise again. There were moments when you felt spiritually hunted, not physically, but emotionally, spiritually, like something unseen was trying to crush your hope, your confidence, your purpose. You survived attacks that were meant to silence you forever. You survived words meant to plant seeds of doubt inside your identity. You survived moments where it felt like everything was stacked against your future. But listen to me, chosen one. Your breakthrough will silence what tried to spiritually assassinate you. Not with revenge, not with anger, but with destiny fulfillment so powerful it becomes undeniable evidence of my hand on your life. Those who spoke against you will see what I have built inside you. Those who underestimated you will watch you walk into spaces they never thought you would reach. Those who waited for you to fall will watch you stand stronger than ever before. Your breakthrough will not just be personal victory. It will be spiritual declaration. It will say, I survived. It will say, I was chosen. It will say, what tried to destroy me failed. I saw the nights when you felt like giving up. I saw you fighting silent battles inside your mind. I saw you questioning your worth when circumstances kept challenging your faith. But I never stopped working in your story, because breakthroughs are not random events. They are spiritual eruptions of destiny after long seasons of preparation. You have been under pressure long enough. Now I am preparing to release you into favor you did not have to fight for. Your life will become evidence that survival was not luck. It was assignment. And the same forces that tried to spiritually weaken you will witness your elevation. Not because you are better than others, but because you carried purpose through pain. Your story will become testimony. Your scars will become authority symbols. Your past will become proof that destiny is stronger than destruction. You will walk into rooms where people will feel something different about you. They will not know why, but they will sense survival. They will sense wisdom. They will sense spiritual authority formed through suffering. Your breakthrough is not just about success. It is about spiritual vindication. I am turning your suffering into evidence of my faithfulness. I am turning your struggles into platforms for destiny. I am turning every attempt to silence you into fuel for your future voice. And when your breakthrough finally manifests, it will speak so loudly that every spiritual force that once opposed you will have to acknowledge that you were never meant to be destroyed. You were always meant to rise, listen, slow down for a moment. Because this is the moment you start to understand, not just believe, not just hope, but know. That pain you carried, it was not wasted. I saw every tear you thought disappeared into the darkness. I saw every night you stared at the ceiling, asking why life had to hurt this much. I heard the prayers you couldn't even finish speaking. because your chest was too tight from holding back the pain. You thought you were being broken, but I was preparing you. Yes, preparing you. Because destiny is not handed to people who have never been tested by fire. Destiny is activated inside people who can still stand when everything inside them wants to collapse. Do you feel that shift in your spirit right now? That quiet realization starting to rise like heat under your skin? That wasn't random. That was preparation. Every closed door was teaching you how to walk away with dignity instead of desperation. Every betrayal was teaching you how to see beyond smiling faces. Every lonely season was teaching you how to hear my voice when the world became too loud. You were not abandoned in those seasons. You were surrounded. Unseen protection was standing between you and dangers you never even knew were coming toward you. There were conversations you almost entered that would have drained your purpose. There were relationships you almost held onto that would have diluted your calling. There were paths you almost walked that would have slowed your destiny momentum. And I pulled you back gently, not with force, with love, with quiet spiritual guidance that you felt in your gut but couldn't explain with words. You thought it was anxiety. It was discernment being born inside you. Now feel this rising inside your spirit. You are not just surviving, you are being activated. Your pain was not random suffering, it was spiritual forging, like gold being purified through fire until only strength remains. You are stronger now than you were before the storm found you. Not louder, not harder, but deeper. There is authority forming in your voice, wisdom forming in your silence, power forming in your patience. You are no longer the person who needed approval to keep going. You are becoming the person who walks in purpose, even when no one claps. And I need you to feel this truth burning inside your spirit now. What tried to destroy you was actually introducing you to who you were always meant to become. The pain had purpose. The struggle had assignment. The waiting had destiny written inside it. You are not an accident of survival. You are destiny in motion. And what I am about to do in your life next will prove that every tear was preparation for glory you were always meant to carry. Chosen one, stand up in your spirit right now. You are not forgotten. You were never abandoned. Through every storm, every tear, every night you thought you were alone, I was there, building, protecting, preparing you for glory you could not yet see. The battles did not break you. They proved you were stronger than what tried to stop you. The silence was not absence. It was me working in ways your eyes could not understand. Now rise, not in fear, not in doubt, but in victory. Your story is not over. It is just entering its most powerful chapter. Walk forward with your head lifted, your heart strengthened, your spirit anchored in destiny. What was meant to destroy you has already lost. What is coming toward you carries blessing, purpose, and unstoppable favor. Go forward with courage. Go forward with faith. Go forward knowing you are chosen, protected, and divinely destined for greatness. I never left you, and I never will.